Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu salamu ala rasulullah. We'll continue reading from Imam Ghazali's The Jews of the Qur'an, Jawahir al-Qur'an. We have reached Surah Al-Naml, the end. We are on page 124 of Muhammad Abul Qasim's translation. And Imam Ghazali chose 13 verses from Surah Al-Naml. In brackets, Satan has taken the people of Sheba, Saba, from the right path. The verse continues, so that they do not prostrate themselves before God, who brings to light that is what is hidden in the heavens and the earth, and he knows that which you conceal and that which you disclose. God, there is no God but He, the Lord of the mighty throne. These are verses 25 to 26. We will go back to the verses before 25. The reason why this surah was named after the ants, and I think it's a very beautiful, very important verse and context about the protecting the ants. But immediately, and for few verses from 20 to 24, the Sulaiman alayhi salam inspected the birds and wondered why he could not see the hoopoe, the hudhud, or could he be absent? And he promised that he would punish the bear, the hoopoe, the severe punishment, or even threaten to might even slaughter him, unless he brings a compelling excuse. And it was not long before the bird came and said, I have found out something you do not know. Remember that Sulaiman alayhi salam was a prophet, and he is bringing him news that he was, and of course the dominion, the kingdom of Sulaiman alayhi salam, unmatched in human history. And that's the dua, the supplication. That's what he asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he was granted that. So he brought him news of a people from Saba, the people of Saba. Usually we say Sheba, and queen of Sheba. And she was ruling her people, Malik al-Saba. They have been given, she was being given everything that she needs, and she had a magnificent throne. But they worshipped the sun. They prostrated to the sun rather than to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Satan has made their deeds appealing to them, hindering them from the right way and leaving them unguided, so that they do not prostrate to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the verse that Imam Ghazali chose along with the next one. Okay. ألا يسجدوا لله الذي يخرج الخبأ في السماوات والأرض ويعلم ما تخفون وما تعلنون الله لا إله إلا هو رب العرش العظيم. So you have people outside the realm of monotheism who prostrated to various man-made, man-designated deities, whether it's an idol or a totem or a natural phenomenon. Whether it's the sun or something else in the universe, They worship that. They prostrated themselves to the. But okay, that they have worshipped the wrong deity is one thing, but they have prostrated themselves. They found that prostration is the right relationship with God, even when the God, in this case, when the false God, when the false, with the idol, the totem, the whatever they have worshipped. So they, even in the case where we know very well that it is wrong, they still prostrated themselves. Go back to what we call um, heavenly religions, Adyan Samawiyya, meaning that in their origin they were revealed. Talk about the original source rather than the state of the scripture. It's a long story, but they if they are still monotheists, they have dropped prostration from the picture practically. Though if you go back to the Old Testament, you'll find that prostration was common. People did prostrate themselves, and the how many times the Old Testament mentions or uses the phrase "and he fell on his face" as a prostration, and they know it, and they know that they don't practice it practically, except on rare occasions. For Subhanallah, and we do have this. Alhamdulillah, Ya Rabbik alhamd. We prostrate ourselves in these, at least the 5 daily prayers, and practically much more than the 5 daily prayers if you add the sunnah. People pray. It depends on which prayer. You can pray at night as much as you want extra, and you pray before and after the noon prayer, for example, before the dawn prayer, before the afternoon prayer, before and after the evening, before and after the night prayer, all including all of them include prostration, and that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings forth what is hidden in the heavens and the earth. If it's that people that they hide, there's nothing hidden from the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He knows the when a black ant walks on a solid rock in the darkest night, in a dark night. So even that much, that small, under these conditions, still Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is fully aware of that and of everything in the universe. Nothing could be hidden from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Unless Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings forth something. Then, rather than continuing about the Queen of Sheba, Imam Ghazali chose to go to verse 60. أمن خلق السماوات والأرض وأنزل لكم من السماء ماء فأنبتنا به حدائق ذات بهجة ما كان لكم أن تنبتوا شجرها أإله مع الله بل هم قوم يعدلون. Of course, all humanity combined, if they join forces, they cannot really neither they can create a tree nor they can it is not in your power to grow the trees of them yourselves. Is God better or that which the idolaters associated with him, in brackets, or he who created the heavens and the earth, and sent down for you water from the clouds, with which we cause to grow joyous orchards? It is not in your power to grow the trees of them yourselves on your own. Every natural phenomenon that takes place in the universe takes place by leave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wills that it will grow. Then is there a God with God? If there is another God, what is that God doing? Obviously, nothing else is taking place in the universe except that what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has ordained. Rather, they are a people who set up equals to with Him, with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Or is not He better who made the earth a fixed place? Place rivers in the midst of it, place upon it fair mountains, and put a barrier between the two seas. Then there is a God. Then is there a God with God? Ilahun ma'allah. Rather, most of them, the idolaters, do not know the truth. Making the earth a fixed place. In Arabic, أَمَّنْ جَعَلَ الْأَرْضَ قَرَارًا وَجَعَلَهَا خِلَالًا نَهَارًا وَجَعَلَ لَهَا رواسي. Rawasi, the root of the word anchor is the same, مرسى. Rasayas, when a ship really is anchored, but here the mountains anchor the earth so that it will be stable. That could be. We previously discussed the role of the function of the mountains. They are like pegs, like nails, nailing the surface of the earth. Is tectonic plates. Subhanallah. Because if you say that the earth is fixed, the earth is not fixed in any sense except that it is made good enough for us to live. Whether it's the rain, the rivers, the mountains, the fertile land, and again, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the barrier between the two seas. Remember previously when we spoke about the مرج البحرين لا يلتقيان. Okay, when we talk about the more than one verse, of course, we talk about the two bodies. One is salty water, and the other one is fresh, sweet water, and they do not mix. And we talk about the two different ecosystems within both, and they don't mix. And it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who responds to prayer. Or is He not better who responds to the distressed person when he calls upon Him, on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and removes the evil and makes you successors of the earth? Then is there a God with Him? Little is that you heed. Or is He not better who guides you in the darkness of the land and the sea, and who sends the breezes as heralds of His mercy in the form of rain, between brackets? وَمَا يُرْسِلْ رِيَاحَ بُشْرًا بَيْنَ يَدَيْ رَحْمَتِهِ. It's about the rain, really. أَإِلَٰهٌ مَّعَ اللَّهِ تَعَالَى اللَّهُ عَمَّا يُشْرِكُونَ أَمَّن يَبْدَأُ الْخَلْقَ ثُمَّ يُعِيدُهُ. It's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who originates creation and then repeats it. يعيد الخلق. If you talk about the same person, for example, he will be resurrected, and on the day of judgment. And who provides for you from the heavens and the earth? It's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There are wasa'it, talk about uh, intermediary agents, but it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who provides. You talk about people who, all those thousands of people who work very hard so that you'll have a loaf of bread on your table. But think about those who do till the land, those who work the land, those who sow the seeds, those who irrigate, those who weed the harmful plants, those who take care of the plant until harvest, and then after harvest you you harvest and you store the grains, and then they are transferred to mills and then to bakeries, and they're all intermediary agents for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the provider. Without any intermediary agents, if you will, like when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala provided Maryam alayhi salam, she said it is from God. When Zacharias asked about the whereabouts of the food that he found with her, and he was the only one who took care, and he would enter into her presence bringing her provisions. And there he remembered to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he asked him for offspring, and he was granted Yahya alayhi salam. Or is he not better who originates creation and then repeats it? Originates creation, still the story about you have those who are creationists and those who are evolutionists. They subscribe to the Darwinian theory, and it's not something that you could see in a lab. And it's not a. The question remains: why the human being stopped evolving? Why we don't see any changes? The evolutionists claim that there were ancestors, and they keep drawing them. Though when they find bones, they don't find a picture of those people. This who you'll find skulls. In fact, if you think about it, you will find skulls today of people with flat faces. You'll find skulls of massive heads. You'll find skulls of small heads. You'll find skulls. I'm sure that a couple of drug addicts that we have in the old city of Jerusalem, and I'm sure they must have used heavy drugs to the degree that they have busted their brains. The shape of their skull has been affected. It must be that the brain inside has diminished. So all these shapes, they don't indicate that there is development, and they don't indicate different ancestry. All of them are Homo sapiens. It is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who created the human being in the best possible fashion. This is why there will be no development. In fact, rather than coming from ancestry, like sharing at one point the same ancestor with chimps, with apes. In fact, the Quranic story is that there is certain regression where some people were punished. They were tamed as a punishment, metaphoricized to they became apes. It's regression. And that's because they have violated the sanctity of the Shabbat. No generalization there. Meaning that the Quran upheld the sanctity of the Shabbat for the people who came before us. For us, it's Friday. And it's the same function that our relatively speaking, the duration of the Friday sermon and prayer. For that duration, since from the moment you have the call for prayer until the end of the actual Friday prayer, there should be no business transactions. It is prohibited in Islam. Pretty much like the function of the Shabbat. Then is there a God? With God, ask them, bring forward your proof. If you are truthful, meaning in your belief that there are gods with God. Of course, will never be the case. Tell them, none in the heavens and the earth except God knows the unseen, nor is he aware when he will be raised up. They conceal in their minds, nor is he aware when he will be raised up. Surely your Lord is bountiful towards mankind, but most men are not grateful. Surely your Lord knows well that which they conceal in their minds, and that which they disclose. There is nothing hidden in the heaven and the earth, but is recorded in a clear book, that is the preserved tablet, Al-Lawh al-Mahfuz. Surely your Lord, this is addressing Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, will decide between the children of Israel by his judgment set forth in the Quran. He is the Almighty, the All-Knowing, the Omniscient, the Omnipotent, the Omniscient. So put your trust in God. Surely you stand on manifest truth. You stand on manifest truth. فَتَوَكَّلْ اللَّهِ إِنَّكَ عَلَى الْحَقِّ الْمُبِينِ. This manifest truth as the last phase of revelation. It's the only one that is universal. The followers of the other prophets, once, and this is the case with each prophet historically, once a new prophet with a new message is sent, a new message is revealed, and a new messenger is sent to people, the people have no choice but to follow. In as much as there is Old Testament and New Testament, you have a Last Testament, and the Quran, of course, the Islamic worldview based on the Quran and the Sunnah, is the last refuge, last resort for humanity, if you think about it. And this is something that, an amazing thing that was mentioned by a priest who said only Islam, only Muslims, only Islam can face this disintegration of ethics and morality and traditional family values, things that humanity lived with for thousands of years, and now they would like to change. And they are already changing, and they have changed, in fact. It's amazing the quick, the swift collapse. And that priest said that only Islam and Muslims can stand against, like providing a solid moral stance. Think about it. Islam is the final refuge. Think, in a sense, it's the firewall, the only firewall for humanity against evil, against Satan, against moral bankruptcy. Now, I did say that I would go back to why the story of the ants is named as such. It's because Sulaiman alayhi salam, when he was out with his army. So, for example, Solomon's forces of jinn, humans, and bears were rallied for him. perfectly organized. And when they came across a valley of ants, an ant warned, "O ants, go quickly into your homes, so Solomon and his armies do not crush you unknowingly." حتى إذا أتوا على وادي النمل قالت نملة يا أيها النمل ادخلوا مساكنكم لا يحطمنكم سليمان وجنوده وهم لا يشعرون. Um, so Sulaiman alayhi salam was given the ability to understand the language, the communication. So the most important thing is that the Sulaiman alayhi salam changed the course of the army for the sake of protecting the ants. Okay, and this shows a clear. It's very important for all this discussion today about protecting the environment, protecting the ecosystems, protecting nature. Every tiny creature has its own role, and I would say that we have mentioned protecting the ants. When Sayyidina Sulaiman salam in a different context was taken, distracted by the horses, the beauty of the horses. He was distracted so that he did not really, at least momentarily, for that duration, for as long as the horses were right with him, he did not really worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he said, bring them back, bring the horses back. فَطَفِقَ مَسْحًا بِالسُّوقِ وَالْأَعْنَاقِ. Now the typical interpretation is that he started slaughtering these horses and cutting off their legs, cutting their necks and cutting their legs. Now, if he was distracted, is that the problem of the horses? And this is why I would say it's unbecoming of Sulaiman alayhi salam to do this. Someone who saved the ants could not basically could not kill a herd of horses because he was distracted. So Radduh alayh, he wanted to do the same thing, and that's exactly what horse riders, the jockeys, what they do. They simply gently, with their hands, they simply touch the neck of the horse and the front legs. Mash. It's not really. Mash is really like wiping, literally. And you could praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at that moment rather than being distracted. It's just like the difference between saying a subhanallah in front of something beautiful, astonishing, and the American wow. You could say wow, but that's not subhanallah. That's not praising God. You could say wow, but that's not really alhamdulillah. So I thought of sharing this with you. Suffice it, inshallah, for this particular session. Inshallah, we'll continue with the next surah, Surah Al-Qasas, in the next session. بإذن الله جل. Until then, سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.